each other. We can see right now the world champion Magnus Carlsen on the board one, and this is Baadur Jobava. They have just started the game. The clock was started by Magnus Carlsen, and Jobava goes with the first move.
Yes, and what we will do is we'll bring up the board in a moment. Jobava, a fan favorite, I would say. He's known for his extravagance. He's known for his creativity, but he can really play chess. I mean, this guy is, for me, one of the most talented chess players of his generation, and I don't see any reason why he can't give Magnus a really good game today. Now, of course, Magnus is favorite, even with the black pieces. I would say Magnus is favorite. Nevertheless, I think Baadur, he's playing well. He had a really great position yesterday against Jan Krzysztof. He had an amazing position. He could have actually been on 5 out of 5. Alas, Jan Krzysztof found a resource and was unable to win. Clearly, with the last-minute organisation, it's been a little tough here. Some slight issues throughout, as you will have seen yesterday, but today we will have those solved. Let's see here. So in the meantime, we've got a close-up of Magnus Carlsen against Baadur Jobava.
Yeah, Baadur Jobava goes with his favorite London system. There is also Jobava London system, and he does this. He likes to play this.
Yes, he goes for his. Now, what's really interesting is Magnus has actually played this himself with the white pieces for fun in Blitz. I know very well.
Yeah.
And actually, we don't have no, we have more of a classical system. I can see a pawn on c4 there. As I say, we will get this up as soon as we can.
Well, knowing Jobava, I'm so glad to see him being so solid at this tournament. Not doing the madness as he usually does, and makes some experiments on the board, but he's very solid, and his opening choices also says so, that he's here well prepared. And yesterday he gave an interview to the press officer of the tournament, and he assured some information what he was doing during the COVID time, because there were not too many tournaments to travel. There were several online events, and Jobava said that he started to stream.
Yes, he started a streaming career. Yes, he has. Yeah.
And himself, he enjoys that, and I'm sure he has lots of viewers who enjoy that too. Please share the link among your friends if you watch right now on FIDE channel on YouTube and Twitch, and let's bring more and more friends and family and more people into chess world.
Yeah, please do. I mean, because it's a lot of fun. It's great for kids as well. And they learn a lot. They borrow a lot of the skills as well for later on in life, for other subjects. That's really important, and it is a lot of fun. We're going to have the games in just a moment, and nothing too major has happened yet, so you're not missing anything particularly exciting. We're only on move 6 or 7, and as I say, we'll get that up in a minute. In the meantime, remember, you can follow us on YouTube. On Twitch. Remember to follow FIDE Chess, of course. FIDE being the International Chess Federation, and again, they deserve a lot of credit, because to have this tournament cancelled just 2 weeks ago, and then to find a place to actually host the tournament is quite an achievement. And
absolutely. I have chat with a lot of participants who are playing here, and they were quite upset and disappointed to learn the cancellation of the tournament, because this event here with $1 million prize fund total is a huge thing for chess players. In the end of the year, they have a chance to get quite nice prize fund.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. I mean, for a lot of these chess players, at least, if we're not talking about Magnus or Jan Nepomniachtchi or some of the other guys who play those super elite events, but for the other top grandmasters, this is a big deal for them, and it's a lot of money because a lot of people perhaps don't know this, but being a grandmaster is not such an easy life. Playing chess professionally is not easy. It's not like golf or football. You're earning a lot less, and as a result, a tournament like this where you can win $60,000, $50,000, $40,000 is a big part of what they look for in the year.
And of course, you have to invest once again into your preparation.
Yeah, you have to train, you have to buy things, you have to travel. For example, this tournament, I don't think they are invited, actually, most people, I think.
They are invited, some of them.
Some of them, but some of them
most
aren't.
Of them are
most
invited,
of them, right,
let's say so, because we do have the barrier, 25.50 for open section, 22.50 for women's section, and big part of them are invited, so it's covered by the organizers, and there are a few participants who have to pay, but this is totally worth it for them to have this experience, to play at the World Championship, and with a very good practice, with a very good training and a proper training, everyone can have a chance to show its best. With this time control and this format as well.
And the other good news is a lot of these grandmasters, they do have a better chance in this tournament compared to perhaps some classical tournaments, because rapid and blitz, a lot can go wrong. I mean, so much we've already seen yesterday, for example, with the unfortunate game. But I feel really bad for Rasmus Svane, who lost this game up 2 pawns.
Yes.
To blunder checkmate like that is heartbreaking, and it's very difficult to recover from that.
It is.
Okay.
But I hope he can do that.
Indeed.
And it was really fun comment right after we had a small chat with Anish Kirian.
We had d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, and bishop g5. So Baadur playing much more traditional way of playing, much more orthodox way. This position, and bishop f4, this is slightly unusual to drop the bishop back here. Normally white tends to put the bishop on h4, but okay, he brings it to f4, castles and a3, fairly standard stuff, takes, and he decides not to play knight f3, because after knight f3, knight c6, we actually enter the absolute main line of this variation. So he takes, does a big exchange, hits the bishop, and it's on Baadur in this position here. Magnus has got the isolated pawn, but of course, if black can ever play the move pawn to d4 here, he's normally doing okay, so Baadur plays the very logical knight f3. I expect Magnus to play knight c6 very, very quickly, and after this, Baadur then has to decide what he wants to do. But I think Magnus has got no problems. I think this is a typical isolated queen's pawn position. He does play knight c6, and Baadur has to think of a way here to try and prevent pawn to d4, because this king is still in the center. The rook can come to e8 very quickly, and as a result, white actually has to be very precise here, and if he's not, he could actually end up being slightly worse. That's something Baadur wants to avoid after only 12 moves.
Yeah. Also, his style is to give the opponent some a little bit slight advantage, sometimes even big advantage, and then he tries to trick them, like it happened yesterday in Jan Christoph Duda game. He was having such a worse position, and earlier he with Muradli he had really bad position, but at some point he tricked. But he's playing against world number 1 Magnus Carlsen. I think he should not try the same against him.
Trying to trick Magnus actually never works, because he will admit he's actually a bit of a trickster himself. He loves a cheapo just as much as anybody else. So you can't trick Magnus. You've just got to play really good chess. And actually already it's quite a difficult decision for Baadur, because, for example, if you play bishop d3 here, I wonder if black probably can just play d4 immediately, and as I say, if black can play this move d4, he tends to be doing quite well. If e takes d4, knight takes d4, let's say, this kind of position actually looks good for black, because if you castle, Black probably already has got the move bishop g4, and I'm already seeing problems with this pin here for white. And if you take on d4, I think black can just take queen takes d4, and now you gain another tempo hitting this bishop, and on bishop e3 I wonder if black can play rook e8. Pinning, and the point is that if you castle, Magnus would not hesitate in playing the move rook takes e3 here. He wouldn't hesitate, I think. F takes e3, queen takes e3 check, king h1 and bishop e6, and say, okay, I've got the two bishops, both of my bishops are lovely. Maybe it's not necessary to play like this, but it certainly has to be fine. There's also, after bishop e3, you can just take this pawn on b2, potentially as well. So there's actually just a pawn to be grabbed here, and I'm not impressed with white's position. So already some practical problems for Baadur Jobava after only 12 moves. Let's move on.
We have to go to the second board. This is Nepomniachtchi against Jan-Christoph Tudor. Seems to me the game and focus on the rest of the three games. That's quite painful to lose a game that early, like this in this style. But he can try.
Yeah, he has no other option. It's one of those games where you have to forget about it real quickly. You were never in. Should be, in my opinion, very decent for black. Baadur has exchanged a pair of queens, but only black can be better here, because
look at all these pieces. Bishop from b6 target enough to rook on the second rank. The pawns doubled on f file, and black can also try to target a3 pawn.
Rook e7 I like by Baadur, trying to get active. And actually he might have an idea of bishop e5. For example, let's say black just played a move, let's say h5. I wonder if you can go bishop e5, not worrying about this check, because you can just go king g3, and now there is no way to stop this.
Yeah, I like this move too, very active, and instead of some passive moves, he goes with to target g7 pawn. Do you think black should play here bishop d4 to control this diagonal?
Bishop d4, I think he wants to go bishop e5 anyways. He just doesn't mind, that's the point. And the bishop trade is a very easy draw. And this is actually bad for black because we can take king h8 and now go rook c7 check, winning the rook. So he went king g8. And his idea now is if bishop e5, does he want to take and go g5? Maybe he wants to take. I don't know if he wants to take first and then go g5 or go g5. Maybe he can just go g5 immediately. And Magnus just says, well, I can put my king on f8 and no problem. I've got some initiative. Because now if you go rook g6, now I can take with the bishop on f2 threatening check. And if you go king h3, maybe he can start setting problems, f4, bishop g1. Magnus type position for sure.
Yeah. Little tricks there in here.
Well, it's more, I would say he's setting problems on every move. h4 by Baadur.
Stopping g5.
Yeah, it's probably a really very sensible move, actually. Very sensible move. I actually really like it. Magnus there deciding what should he do. 6 minutes left on the clock, so plenty of time.
Yeah, he clearly uses less time than the other opponents in most of his games, and the time factor is also one thing that he presses on the clock, and at some point the opponents are simply blundering because of the no time.
Yeah, and he forces his opponents to make big blunders. That's the key thing. And we do have another result, and I wanted to mention this a little earlier. Hans Niemann I spoke about him yesterday, Ketty. The young American has defeated Boris Gelfand. And I was going to say, when Hans saw this pairing, he was probably...
they are still...
Are they still playing?
Yeah.
There's been a slight... okay. I beg your pardon. Sorry, they are still playing. There was a result given, but that's not true. Okay, well, let's see what happens in that game. But that's a name I want you guys at home to keep an eye out for. Hans Niemann, 26.45, 18 years old. He went from 24.80 ELO to 26.50 in about 16 months.
That's
during lockdown.
impressive.
During lockdown with very few tournaments.
Wow, that's very impressive. Myself and I think many of our viewers know him from streaming career.
Yes, and he used to stream as well.
Yes.
Very entertaining guy, very, very interesting young man. All right, Rook D7 now by Baadur, and probably this position is good enough to make a draw, because it feels like White's Rook is as good as Black's Rook, but it's also possible that Magnus finds some resource.
Yeah. I would not be surprised so far what I have seen. Shall we go to Ali Reza against a Garyav game? Seems very interesting.
Okay, do you want to go to another game, or do you want to stay here, because it's getting? I think we should stay here because I think it's a critical game.
Yeah, I'll check the board.
Okay, Rook D6. Okay, Rook D7 check by Baadur. Now, he wants to chase the H pawn, I think. Yeah, so King E6. He can just give checks, actually. King E6, he can just give check. I'm getting more confident that Baadur is actually going to hold this. So Magnus actually goes for it with King E8, it seems. So Magnus is actually playing for a win here. And let's have a look. So Rook D7. King is on E8. And if Rook G7... Now what does he want to do? Magnus not looking too impressed here, Ketty, with his position, basically.
Yeah, his body language says that he's...
banging that pawn in frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to win every game, and he sees Baadur as actually a good opportunity to win. Don't be fooled by the rating differential, 25.88 to 28.56. Baadur is well underrated by hundreds of points. He's just a little inconsistent and can have his very bad periods, and obviously Magnus has stayed at his level for
he's
a long time. So Rook G7 is on the board, and now it feels as though Magnus is kind of resigned to the fact that he probably doesn't have much, because I mean this is a big threat. He goes F4, bishop takes F4, he's probably going to take on F2, probably with the rook. Something like this, rook takes F2, King G3, and he's probably just going to go back to A2, and it's going to probably be a draw. There might even be a slightly more accurate way of continuing here. I don't know what that is exactly, but I mean, it definitely doesn't feel like Magnus is in any danger here. Let's put it like that. So wait for these moves to come through.
Yeah, the pawn on G6 seems to disappear.
He took with the bishop.
Yeah, bishop takes and rook takes G6.
Bishop takes F2, rook takes G6, and probably bishop takes H4 check. And the easiest way to make a draw here is just to go bishop G5. So after King H3, bishop G5, because after takes, this is a fairly simple draw, and I don't see Magnus trying to fight here. Well, there's nothing to fight. It's just a very simple draw. So rook takes g6, and here Magnus actually decides to. I don't really know why he wants to play this move. I mean, this is certainly fine, I guess, to play like this. He actually wants to keep some pawns on because he's actually saying that I want to just test you, and maybe after rook a6, which is what Baadur just played, bishop takes h4 check, king h3, he actually has to go back to f2 to defend the pawn. But of course this is just bishop b8, for example, and bishop c5, bishop takes a7, and rook takes a3 is a tip. Did I blunder rook e6 check? No, I didn't, because even here, rook e6 check, king f7, bishop takes c5, I have the very important rook takes f3 check. All of this is actually forced.
Nice
King
line.
g2, and we finally have a draw. And I actually expect the game to end precisely like that. So let's see if we get that. I don't think Magnus, as I say, is gonna try and find anything. There's no need. It's not the position to do it, and you can just see in his body language that
Yeah,
he's
the
ready
king
to
is
make a
too
draw.
far on e8. If the king is a bit closer, then bishop b6 with a check, and then to bring the king closer to the rook. This might be some chance, but king is so far now on e8.
He decided to go bishop b6 check, and
Oh,
after
anyway.
king g3, that's kind of surprising to me. Because now if you go bishop f2 check, I can go king h3, and I'm a pawn up here with white. So
I
what does
think his idea is to bring the king now. King d7.
Yes, but bishop b8.
King c8, bishop a7, bishop c7 check, and king b7 is.
Wow.
Yes.
Bishop e8, what's that? Sorry, king d7, bishop e8, king c8. Here, you want to give check. Oh my goodness. And after f4, only move. King here actually runs into mate, which is quite outstanding. And after check, f4, king b7, but I have rook a4.
I know, I know that's the move, and I don't think there's any more
No.
trick here.
No, I mean, if Magnus is doing this,
He's going for it.
I don't understand.
Oh wow. Wait, maybe there is something else after bishop b8, because bishop b8 looks very logical.
You have to
move.
play bishop e8. Bishop f2 check. Okay, what is this? I don't understand this. And if I go king f4? I mean, why would you go for this if you could have just made a draw earlier?
I know. He goes with
Okay.
king e6 and king f5.
We're here, but he can't. My king is on f4.
No, it's not possible. Bishop is on b8.
I don't understand anything. I don't know what's going on. Now he's looking a little concerned. He's probably going to make a draw anyway, because it's probably a draw, but I can't explain why he wouldn't just take the immediate draw. Meanwhile, another result, if it's correct, Andrei Volikitin has actually beaten MVL with the black pieces, it seems, which is actually a massive result, if true. Bishop f2 check, he went king h3. Now, again,
Bishop g1 here. No.
No.
Second. Bishop e3, bishop f4.
Well, your idea now, king c. He went king. Okay, we'll have it.
No.
No, he's moving up the board. We'll get the moves in a minute.
That's brilliant idea, king c8 now, because if you take the pawn, king b7.
Yeah, even that's a draw, right? Because, for example, here, rook a5, bishop takes f2, rook takes h5. Or yeah, this is obviously still a draw, and should be a fairly easy draw with 2 extra pawns. But this didn't happen. So king h3, king c8 happened. He played bishop e5. So he didn't take on a7 for some reason, Baadur.
Yeah, I think because of this line.
Okay, bishop e5, bishop b6, rook a4, king d7, getting the king active, but white is a pawn up here. So, I mean, white just has no real problems. I don't think black has got any problems because he's just so active and so well coordinated. But I'm slightly surprised that Magnus played like this, to be honest.
Yeah, he keeps the game going on.
Yeah.
He tries everything, and he also keeps the position when he has something to back up, you know, just to make a draw at any point. But he always tries.
Incredible. Still. Okay, so we're waiting for some moves after 43, king d7. Well, actually, we had rook a4, king d7, bishop d4, bishop c7, bishop g1, a5, rook d4 check. I mean, he manages to keep the game alive. It's just incredible, actually.
Yes.
It's really incredible, because actually now if he wins the a3 pawn, this pawn is actually very dangerous. Absolutely unbelievable. If Baadur loses this, he'll be really, really upset.
Yeah.
Rook d4, so what's it? Rook c4. I mean, it's very difficult to lose this, so. He has an extra pawn, and the rook can just go from e4 to c4. The only thing is he has to be a little bit careful. For example, if you play bishop, let's say you go king d5, rook e4, bishop c7, you can't actually move this bishop. You move this bishop anywhere, you get mated in one.
That's right.
So you have
what he does, he slowly squeezes the opponent's pieces in most of the games.
Yeah.
Even let's say in the first game against Gakonashvili, it was such a drawn game with only 3 pieces on the board, and he won the pawn, which was surrounded with many of black's pieces.
Yeah.
And then he squeezed so much black's position that he won a piece. And then slowly, he just won the end game.
Yeah, he's quite exceptional, and he's managing to cause practical problems a whole pawn down. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
So he's playing rook d4. It looks though that this one.
You see, slowly he improved so much. With the king, with the rook and the bishop, they create this checkmate threat. Bishop has to be on g1 all the time. But the question is if this is enough. Like bishop b4 now, for instance, that cuts the rook from guarding a4 pawn. And seems like to me, after bishop e4, white has to give up that pawn and starts to play against h5 pawn, like rook d5, rook g5.
Okay, he does win the a4 pawn. Now we're going to get the moves because they're going so fast that the moves aren't through yet. We will get that in a second. And he managed to win the a4 pawn. Now, does that mean he's got some chances? I'm not entirely sure. We'll get the live position in just a moment. But, well, he does go for this. I mean, Baadur...
He plays bishop h2. I'm not sure about this bishop h2. Why he plays that?
I don't know, and all of this could have been avoided by just taking the a7 pawn, so it's all very strange to me. I have absolutely no idea. He wants to go after the h5 pawn. Maybe Baadur wants rook a4, rook here, and now...
King g6?
Yeah, and if king g6, rook g5.
King h6? King
h6, bishop f4. To set up this. Bishop e7 might be good there. Have we got this position on the board with king h6?
Yeah.
Bishop f4, is he going to play bishop e7? No, he goes rook a3, it seems. Okay, some moves being played quickly. Again, difficult to keep up with them because I can't see it just from here. We've got the same vantage point as you guys.
Or maybe we can full screen the camera and we can see the current position.
Yeah, we could also just zoom in here into the player's camera. Perhaps we can do that. Ah, well, we have the position here. King G3. So Magnus no longer a pawn down, and he's just going to try this position.
Of course, with the passing.
Of course he is.
He's trying without pawn, and now with this pawn.
Now with the pawn, it's like a
it's
dream.
dangerous. One thing is that they are almost equal in time. So there's no time advantage for black anymore. Seconds on the clock, anything can happen.
Is Magnus now a pawn up?
Oh, F3 pawn disappeared? I think there is on
It might
F3.
still be there. It might still. Oh yeah, because otherwise it would be check. So there's a pawn on F3.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really quite a simple draw, actually.
Yeah.
King
His latest
King
move,
F4.
King G7, and this just the way how he plays the moves, that clearly shows that he knows that it's equal. It's very.
It's
equal.
a draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the king comes up to G5,
here we have a repetition.
And yeah.
And check.
Yes.
Well, heavy start for the leaders. Duda down. Carlsen shared the point with Jobava. They have a little bit of chat right now.
Yeah, they're having a chat.
It seems to be like Jobava is so curious about some line, and Carlsen.
Magnus, I think, is disappointed. I think Magnus is disappointed because he got a very good opening.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of initiative, but in chess sometimes that's just not enough. You can outplay your opponent for the entire game, be better for the entire game, but it's still not enough to convert a full point. I think Magnus is slightly frustrated about that. He wanted to win that game to put a bit of distance, perhaps, between